this evening's event. He arrives as an evangelist for Autodesk to the industry, but he hadn't come by a conventional path. He didn't come through the engineering school and start getting involved with Autodesk in more, I guess, traditional professional ways. He answered a calling, and then he answered another calling. And I want you to give a very warm welcome to Rob Cohee while he tells you about what he's been doing.
Fires a rifle for many years and he goes to war. And afterwards he comes home and he realizes that everything else he may do in his life, build a house, love a woman, change his son's diaper, he will always remain a jarhead. And all the jarheads killing and dying, they will always be me. We are still in the desert. Anthony Swafford wrote those words in his book and movie. A few years ago I had a chance to share this story with y'all, and I used the same opening then as I do today, not because I couldn't think of anything else, but because the close, we are still in the desert, so perfectly epitomizes what it's like to return from war. So what if? We've heard a lot of what if. What if I hadn't met in the 8th grade my best man and best friend Lonnie Lake, who, right out of high school he decided that he was going to join the Army, and I went to Peru State College to play some football, and of course, he kept telling me about all the good times he was having, all the parties he was having on the weekends. Like, hey man, you need to join 172nd with us. And I said, all right. I signed up. January 26, 1996, for 6 plus 2. 6 plus 2 equals 8. I ended up doing 9.5 years, a little thing called stop loss. And that last year and a half, I was deployed to Iraq. And as a member of the 172nd Transportation Company, I was a truck master. And one of the jobs as a truck master is every single day I have to ask my friends to go into combat. And one convoy in particular, we had so many convoys on the road that I didn't have any gun trucks for Lonnie's convoy. He was the convoy commander. And despite the risks, I was ordered to tell my best friend to go on a convoy with no gun trucks. And at the convoy meeting, he said to his troops, he said, look, I got too many, I don't have enough guns. My convoy's too big and we're going to Fallujah. Any of you want to stay here? I totally understand. The type of man Lonnie is, everybody followed him out the gate that day. And what if Steve LeClaire hadn't joined up to 172nd Trans for his second war? Steve, by all measures, is a hard ass. He's very hard on everybody around him, and he made all of us better for it. On the day he found out he was leaving early from Iraq to go to shoulder surgery, he apologized for letting us down. There was 168 soldiers in the 172nd Transportation Company. Our backgrounds were as diverse as our ages. We had troops from 19 all the way up to 56. Sergeant Doofman, this was his third war. Vietnam, Gulf, and OIF. Now, I bring these personal stories up because I think all too often we lose sight of the fact that there are people on the ground every single day and they're in combat. And one of the things about these, a lot of times you lose sense as to the personal impact. Believe me, we are asked to give up more than just our time. Specialist Hallett was one of the best soldiers I ever met. Every time, all he ever said was, hey, Hallett, I need you to do this. What he said? Yes, Sergeant. That's all he ever said. Now, before we got on the plane, Hallett comes up to me and he says, hey man, I'm going to stay away from that airline food. It just tears me up. Absolutely. So we land in Kuwait, everybody gets on a bunch of buses, and we have our first convoy. Hey, we're a transportation company, we're a convoy. Loaded to the hills, and all of a sudden, hey, we need an emergency rest stop. What's going on? Pulled the convoy over, Hallett runs out, does business by the tree, and he had 167 soldiers covered. There are 6 months of my life that are gone from memory. A few things I do remember: I took cover in a mall when my son closed the changing room door. When we got home, we all struggled with our own way to find peace. What if Hallett would have been wearing his seatbelt on July 7, 2007 in Iowa? We miss you, Hallett. April 3rd, 2004. Date I'm going to remember for the rest of my life for a couple of reasons. First, we had 4 convoys on the road that day. 3 of them were attacked. This was the most organized ambush that anybody had ever seen. That day, our company received 2 Purple Hearts. April 3rd, It's also significant because that's the day my son Cooper was born. Before I left on the convoy that morning, Jenny was able to get a hold of me. And she said she's getting ready to go into labor and call her as soon as I can. We stopped in Southern Iraq that night, and I had a chance to pick up the phone, give her a call. She was doing fine. I even got to talk to his big brother, Caleb. Everything changed after that day. Everything changed after that day. The Army began to change the way they thought about troop protection and armor and what was needed to protect our troops. So, when I got home from leave, my CO said, hey, go check out what maintenance is doing. This is where one of those life happenstances come into play. As mentioned before, I'm an evangelist for Autodesk, and I happen to know a little bit about Inventor. And I happen to have brought my copy to Inventor with me to Iraq. Yes, I'm that much of a geek. And while I was over there, I was able to model up an armor kit. And I was able to model up all different types of configurations of that armor kit for all different versions of our M915 tractor. I made a drawing set, assembly instructions. I even did a couple of animated renderings. And we presented that all the way up to the chain. And all of a sudden, before we knew it, we had a 24-hour operation. People cutting, painting, and bolting on our armor kit. Now, I don't think I did anything special. I participated in an effort to save the lives of my friends, and I will always be proud of that. We lost count somewhere along the road. We put this kit on over 3,000 trucks, but that doesn't matter. What really mattered to me was after 220 missions, 4.5 million miles, all 168 soldiers of the 172nd made it home. For the technical knowledge that led to saving countless lives with your involvement in the Up Armor project, you are hereby awarded the Bronze Star. I didn't understand why. I didn't think I deserved it. After I got home, I saw an interview from CNN. A soldier from our replacement company. He said he wouldn't be able to stand there right there today if it wasn't for the armor on his truck. I understood. My best friend Lonnie Lake said, Lon, I'm volunteering to go back over. I'm going to Afghanistan. I said, Lon, why? He said, Rob, I'm a soldier. That's all I ever wanted to be. Please join me in welcoming Lon back from the second tour.